let's start by asking, I'm going to take a quick survey. Who thinks that counterplan conditionality is good? Okay, who thinks it is bad? Who thinks that they're not quite sure about which way to think? Okay. That's fine. What would we say that counterplan conditionality describes? What does it mean to say my counterplan is conditional in the back?
You can kick it later.
You can kick it later. Alright, so what would be the opposite of a conditional
You have to
counterplan?
keep it throughout the whole run.
You have to keep it, okay? Good. What would that be called?
Unconditional.
Okay, unconditional. So who said that conditionality was bad? Tristan, would you say then that all counterplanes should be unconditional?
Well, it's not necessarily beneficial to neg, but yeah, I think that's...
Okay, you think that would be better. If all counterplanes were unconditional, that would be better for debate.
Yes.
Okay, I'm just trying to establish some ground rules here, okay? Is there another descriptor towards counterplans in terms of their condition?
Disposition.
Dispositional. What does that mean?
Can you kick it if you don't have offense on it, or it's a failure?
Okay, you can kick it with no offense. I'm going to skip this for now, but I'm going to just put it out here. I think this is the dumbest argument I've ever heard. It's not because Joseph made it, but mainly just because I don't believe that this is something that makes any sense. It's a made-up word, and it doesn't describe things that are real, and is not logical in any way. I don't think that people do this anymore. They used to say that they're counterplan dispositional. Do people hear this a lot?
I heard it in
Once.
one term.
Once? Okay, how many debates do you think you've been in?
I don't know.
A lot, right? And you've heard it once.
It wasn't against it. I think it was like a college round.
It was a college round. Okay. When I debated, like 95% of the counterplans were dispositional, and it made no sense. All right? And now we've kind of gotten to this point where all the counterplans are conditional. So you kind of either have the choice of conditional or conditional or unconditional for counterplans. But I just want to kind of set up those ground rules. Okay, so Tristan, I'm going to pick on you. Okay? Just because I want to get out on the table the reasons why most people say that conditionality is bad for debate, right? Just so we can kind of start from there. Tristan, can you name a reason why you think the conditionality is bad?
Waste time.
It wastes time. Well, okay, there's kind of like a debate jargon word for this that people say.
Time skew.
Time skew. Time skew. Time skew would be, I think, the core argument. What does that mean, that there's a skew of time? In the back.
They're making the app answer because if they don't, they lose. But if they just kick it, so it's like a waste of time.
Okay, they made the app answer it. Aww. The app had to answer your petition? That's fucked up. Okay. I don't like the arguments of time skew. But it's related to our second argument, which is the strategy skew, right? Which I think is what you're getting at, right? Which is not just that it puts time pressures on the 2AC, right? There's a finite amount of time in the debate. The 2AC has to answer things. But counterplans are extra special hard to answer, right? And so counterplans are hard. Counterplans hard. Let's put a little stat face here. This is the 2AC. Little tears. Okay. Counterplans are hard to answer, and the 2ACs have a hard time. What other arguments are? I'm gonna connect these for simplicity's sake. Would anyone disagree with that? Okay. Second Your responsibility. That ring a bell for anybody? The argument made here is that when people can run arguments and kick them whenever, there's no reason not to read Ashtar or the counterplan to be mean to old people with the multi-net benefit or other really crazy counterplans, right? You can do whatever you want because you can kick it under any condition. So it leads to bad arguments. Because there's no consequence to kicking the counterplan. A related argument is that it causes bad education. Because it's not real. What do people say? It's not real. Fill in the blank. World. It's not real world. All right. So if you're a politician, say you're a politician, who would we be? Name a politician.
They just announced that they're going to run for president.
There's a bunch of them. Michelle Bachmann.
That one.
Okay, say I'm Michelle Bachmann. All right? I can't just stand up and be like, I am totally for a border fence. And then, like, 2 days later, just be like, wait a second, not for a border fence. Right? Although politicians kind of do this all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but the argument is that it teaches bad advocacy. Because when we teach public advocacy, we want people to pick a position and stick to it. We don't want people to be like used car salesmen and lawyers and teach really bad, sleazy decision-making, advocacy, those kind of skills. And that's what conditionality. By making bad arguments, it causes bad advocacy, and people can just take their positions whenever. Yeah.
If you point out the argument, judges usually vote on that because I've had a lot of judges that tell me, like, when they say real world, the other part, you're like, okay, well, this debate's not real world. So.
Well, I mean, the way to make it work is that it's a question of what kind of education you want to promote or you want to imagine debate causes, right?
Okay.
And I think if you say it's not real world advocacy, which is what debaters should be when they come out of high school or college, they should be taking these skills with them into the real world, quote unquote. I think if you connect it like that, I think it makes it more persuasive.
Maybe education more of a voting issue.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, let's back up for just a second. What would you say is the impact to any theory argument?
Bad education.
Bad education or fairness, but usually fairness. Like, why does it matter if debate's unfair?
It's bad for education.
Bad for education, right? If debate was totally fair, or is debate totally fair? Let's just start there. No.
Inherently unfair.
Kind of inherently unfair. Why would that be?
Because some people are more experienced or faster, things like that.
Well, yeah, but people are faster, slower, but
It's an advantage.
the active advantage and also the negative advantage, right? It's just built into the structure of the debate itself, right? So there are some things about debate that are totally unfair. Now, I'm just going to baseline. Are there any completely fair games?
No.
No? Okay.
Chess.
No. Well, chess, the person who was first has a slight advantage, right?
No, that's true.
You're thinking of fair games or what?
Yeah. Are we thinking of fair games? Are there completely fair games?
No.
No. Okay, so this idea that things have to be absolutely 100% fair is totally constructed, right? And it's almost impossible to have things be fair. It's a question of balance and how you want that fairness to be balanced, right? And what does it matter if debate's not fair? Would you play it if you thought that every time you were going to be neg, you would lose?
No.
No. Right, so it kind of keeps people in debate, but the reason why people debate in the first place is probably because it's educational, right? Or we're competitive too, so they kind of come back to each other. Why do we like competition? Because we're competitive, which is why we want to be fair. All right, so it's a question of what kind of education you want to promote. And for people who say conditionality is bad, it's this advocacy argument. The fourth and final argument against conditionality is that it justifies, and I'm going to draw a little arrow that says that symbolizes justifies, act conditionality. Have people run into this argument before? So explain what they mean by justified act conditionality.
Like if the negative gets the chance to kick out of their advocacy, then the affirmative should have, to be fair, have the same.
The act could also kick their plan. Yeah, under this world of conditionality. Can the act kick the plan?
No.
Well, yeah. In the world of this argument being true, holding this argument true, which I do not believe is the case, it would be possible. The core of this argument, it's one of those things where you try to say a really ridiculous argument to prove how ridiculous their arguments are. You know what I mean? I don't think they actually want to kick the plan. It's more to prove that conditional counterclaims are really bad. All right. Any questions? Does anyone think of any more arguments for why conditionality is bad? I'm going to leave it open, so I'm going to answer these. Once we've beaten all of them, we're going to all agree. Even Tristan. What?
I guess it's key to neg and act growing, because under the act conditionality, it makes it really hard to be neg, because then they can drop your plan whenever.
Yeah, okay. Well, that seems like, that's the same internal link, right, as what I just said. And so I think if I answer this argument, I'll answer that one, right? Okay. First off, time skew. Time skew. Okay, well, here's just a theory tip in general. Always on theory, you want to say things are inevitable or non-unique, right? Just like you would on a dis-ad, right? Because debating theory is a lot like, this is the link, right? What's the link to time skew? Conditionality causes time skew, that's the link. What's the impact? Time skew is bad, right? So you want to know link it as well, or non-unique. So time skew, I'm first going to say it's inevitable. The reason why time skew is inevitable is, we already talked about this a little bit. What's that part of the middle of the debate where the negative gets two speeches right next to each other, the block? This is pretty much the most obvious instance of time skew in debate, right? Okay, so the affirmative is always going to have to make fewer arguments against some of the negative arguments. It is just kind of the way debate works. Now, the advocates say, but this is way worse, blah, 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 we're so sad, okay? This is kind of silly. And the main reason why they think it's different in this case is this idea of strategy skew. The counterplans are harder to answer. I really think that it is the case that counterplans are actually easier to answer than big disads, than DAs. A lot of DAs or topicality violations sometimes even. Because counterplans, you just have to make a solvency argument, a permutation argument, an offense argument, and a theory argument. Quick 4 args done, right? Counterplans are really not much harder, and they don't introduce a whole lot more complexity. So counterplans are actually easier to answer than disads and other things. Time skew, I think, is also, I'm going to impact term too. Time skew is one of the best parts of the debate. Time skew, I'm going to call it T/S, is good.